All aboard. Case 5, and the stream don't stop till the case is over. Okay. Hope I can keep that under control. Let's begin. Hello, Enza. I'm about to voice act the final case. The sins we've committed and the sadness we've caused. I see. Oh, ad break. Can't stop this, unfortunately. Um, 5 times a week. No matter how far we run, our past remains, as ever present as the moon in the sky. It looms in wait for the day when we are forced to face it. Whatever I like. But only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on in hope towards tomorrow. Ah, Miami. We have a shame. Well, that was the end of the ad break. Moving on. They took Athena from the courtroom, straight to the station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. I see. After this past year, I took it for granted that those two would always be here. But now, Apollo has gone off on his own to seek his own truth. And my pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be. It's even quieter in here than usual. Yeah, it seems so empty too. I just don't get I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid. Yeah, and I still believe it was. At least based on what we know. Oh, but now Athena is the one who's being accused. During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center, the lighter used by the real culprit was found. This lighter proved the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, innocent. but Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder. But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense. No, none of it does. I've been racking my brain, but I just can't figure it out. Ah! Where is the flaw in my reasoning? What have I got wrong in this case? You know, Daddy, if Athena was here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking. She'd be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy? Of course I will. And thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. Trucy's right. The trial is tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm going to prove Athena's innocence, I'd better get out there and find some evidence.
Off we go then. We're on a hunt for evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence.
Great. But before we go, I'd better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. Athena's probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Trucy's right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the Space Center. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute?
Galactic scooter, full speed ahead!
Director! He scooted away.
His expression changed the instant he saw you, Daddy.
Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud pretty good at the trial earlier today. We were here only yesterday. Oh, hey! Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yep, and I came straight here. This is all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. You've given me a second chance to fly into space again. I can't thank you enough. Except... What's wrong? I thought he'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Sykes. He saw Athena? I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. And then, you know what? She flashed a peace sign at me. Congratulations on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, that sounds like Athena. I could just picture it. But I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's gotta be suffering. She must be so worried. And yet she went out of her way to be nice and give me that big smile.
She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena.
There's no question about it. That girl is innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. And then they could put me in prison instead. I don't mind. We can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. Don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm going to give her the very best defense I can. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be all right with you in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Apollo has a fine boss to look up to. I still can't believe Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. What could have made Director Cosmos do such a thing? I haven't the foggiest idea. So there never was going to be a launch that day, not from the very beginning. I wonder if Clay knew? I imagine he must have. Surely he would have noticed when you went to board the rocket. It's pathetic to think I was the only one who got taken in. But I guess that's about how it goes when you're worth less than space debris.
Is he going to be alright, Daddy? His expression looks as dark as a black hole.
Well, that's just how he is. Mr. Starbuck, do you remember anything about the murderer? Not really. I only saw a shadowy figure in the dark after all. Yeah, I guess that was a little too much to hope for. Hey, I heard something from the police though. They said they never did find a 10 caliber gun down that trash chute. Just as I thought, the culprit must have carried it away with them when they escaped.
So is the person you saw holding a gun, Mr. Starbuck?
I couldn't really tell. But it wasn't Athena, right? Could you tell if the person was male or female, tall or short? I can't even tell you that much. Man, I'm useless. When the culprit opened the door and some light came in, I should have been able to see. The door. Ah, yes. As I recall, they opened this door here as they made their escape.
The door to Launchpad 1, right?
Yeah, except right now, the door leads to the Space Museum. You mean the Launchpad and the Space Museum are switched right now? Yeah, they're trying to investigate the theory you came up with in court. So they're recreating the conditions, huh? I'd like to see what's beyond that door now. Mr. Starbuck, could you open this door for us? Sure, just let me have my print scanned here. Do the launch pads get switched back and forth a lot? Well, back when the Space Museum was Launchpad 2, they used to switch the pads around at times. But these days, Launchpad 2 is only used as a tourist attraction, right? Right, because, quite frankly, the Space Center needs the money. I hear you. Times sure are tough.
Daddy, let's go check out what's beyond that door.
Sure, let's go. Hey, why don't I come along? I can show you around. Huh? I wonder what these dead leaves are doing here.
Maybe they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes? There are lots of trees around the Space Center.
She's right. It's a modern state-of-the-art building, but it's surrounded by trees. But I don't know. If they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes, wouldn't they look more crushed up? These don't look like they've been stepped on.
Maybe there's some kind of secret hatch in the corridor, and they came in that way?
Not everything is set up like a magician's stage, you know. So this is another one of those devices for opening the door, huh? Yep, but this one doesn't require fingerprint verification. You just hit the button and open sesame.
So when you and Clay went through here, you didn't need to show your prints either?
That's right, Trucy. Just like how the culprit didn't need to scan their prints when they escaped back out of the Space Museum corridor into Boarding Lounge 2. Well, I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. And I imagine this corridor is built exactly like the Launchpad 1 corridor.
Curse the wretched soil of my good name. Reverse course and full speed away.
Director Cosmos, wait!
I'll handle this, Daddy. Take that!
Gah! The mobility system has been compromised.
Trucy's knife throw was a direct hit to one of his tires.
And the streak continues.
Maybe I should have kept a closer watch on what tricks she's been practicing.
My dear old battleship, we fought many a skirmish together. It has been an honor.
Daddy, he's going to blow that thing up!
Nah, I bet all that button will do is make it go haywire again.
Very well, I surrender. As a prisoner of war, I expect to be treated honorably.
Director Cosmos, when you were talking in court about switching the launch pads, You used your right to remain silent about the reason as to why. I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with.
Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The center of the cosmos is shrouded in mystery, but I don't have any secrets left. Now that my battleship has been destroyed and I've been taken prisoner.
No secrets left, huh? I beg to differ. Looks like I'll have to undo his psyche locks if I want to get to the bottom of this.
Take that!
I want you to tell me everything you're hiding about the switching of the 2 launch pads.
I refuse! You can't make me! I can hold out longer than anyone!
I hope I never get like this when I'm old. Now, let's see, where to start? This is how you explained your motive for switching the launch pads. You did it! Thanks to you switching the launch pads, the astronauts escaped injury from the blast. Instead, they safely boarded the museum's rocket, far away from the actual explosion.
My astronauts are ready to go out on an authentic adventure in space. How do you propose I had them board a fake rocket without them noticing?
I agree, you couldn't have done it without help. For one, they would have figured it out the instant they stepped into the Space Museum. You figured you could fool Mr. Starbuck once he'd been drugged with his medication, but without the help of this person, it would have been impossible to pull your plan off.
Take that!
You must have gotten Mr. Terran to help you. He stole the tranquilizers from his mentor's locker and slipped them to him. And then, with Mr. Starbuck in a daze, they boarded the replica rocket in the museum.
Someone please help this poor prisoner of war!
How is he able to spin around like that? If you really wanted to save the astronauts' lives, shouldn't you have just called off the launch?
If I could have done that, you'd think I would have gone through all that trouble!
I guess he must have had a compelling reason why he couldn't call it off. But how did you know to switch the pads in advance of the bombing incident?
Well, that's because... I was warned in advance. Once I received that warning, it was my duty to ensure my astronaut safety.
But it was just a warning. It could have been... It could even have been just been a prank. Why did you believe in it so completely?
Because I went to one of those mediums that everyone's talking about these days.
Oh, I didn't realize channeling was back in vogue. Besides, I thought it was you yourself that got the warning via telephone.
Yes, that's right. The bomber contacted me personally. My battleship is equipped with a special advanced communication system, you see.
AKA a regular old telephone.
It's been a while. Planning another launch? I see you haven't learned. I'll never forget the terror I felt when I received that call.
The bomber said it's been a while, and that was enough to make you take the threat seriously? Perhaps Director Cosmos took the threat so seriously because the Space Center had been involved in a bombing once before? Maybe the culprit in the current case is the same person who is involved in this incident. The Hat One Miracle, that epic story of survival. People across the nation know it now as a heroic tale of bravery. But in truth, it was an act of sabotage perpetrated by our current killer, wasn't it? Very few knew about the previous plot, so when the caller said, "It's been a while," you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the danger was real, and it wasn't a prank!
Gah! Didn't anyone ever tell you to go easy on the ex-serviceman? Yes, the Hat One Miracle was really a desperate battle against an act of sabotage. I even lost the life of one of my staff members in the fight.
Sabotage, murder. So this is the ugly truth behind the Hat One Miracle.
I let my guard down. I thought the saboteur had been caught and that the case was closed.
Huh? Wait a minute. The murder at the Space Center 7 years ago. This must be the person Director Cosmos thought was the culprit.
Take that!
Simon Blackwell, the murder suspect in a case that happened here 7 years ago. Oh, the place and time of the two incidents, the murder and the sabotage, were the same. So you thought that he committed both crimes. But while Prosecutor Blackwell was behind bars, you got another threatening call. If the culprit this time is the same as 7 years ago, then it isn't Simon Blackwell. Realizing that, you were shaken. It meant the true culprit's been running free all this time.
How do you keep seeing straight through me?
The reason why Director Cosmos won't talk about why he switched the launch pads is connected to the truth behind the Hat 1 miracle. The sabotage and murder that happened at this space center 7 years ago. Director Cosmos, tell us what you're hiding.
If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads, we'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago.
7 years ago? You mean the so-called Hat 1 miracle?
The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, then the troubles began. It was all the handiwork of a certain person and their evil scheme.
So Mr. Starbuck's traumatic experience wasn't accidental.
Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered!
Wow, I had no idea such awful events were behind that exciting story of space heroism.
All that, in spite of the Space Center having very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. You couldn't even smuggle a withered old leaf through those checkpoints.
So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage?
At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy.
A spy? You mean somebody who infiltrates a foreign country? Carries out dangerous missions and always gets the girl? Someone's watching way too many late-night movies. Well, I guess if we're talking about blowing up a rocket and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising that a spy could be behind it all.
Make no mistake, there's cutthroat rivalry between nations in the space R&D race. Some try to outdo others by any means possible, even deliberate obstruction. 7 years ago, we got the call before the launch warning us of sabotage.
The same MO as this time.
Yes, and here I thought the perpetrator had been caught, but it looks like I was wrong.
Prosecutor Blackwell seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think? Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing?
But there's a good reason we failed to find the real spy. A massive cover-up by the government. Government officials were too embarrassed to admit that they had allowed such a thing to happen at the hands of a spy.
Don't tell me they made the police rush the investigation.
They did indeed. And then, to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story.
And that was the Hat 1 miracle, wasn't it? But then, 7 years later, the same MO, advance warning of sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching the launch pads. 7 years ago, the spy gave you advance warning of their plans, just like this time. That was what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it?
That's right. The caller knew the facts of the case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They knew about the sabotage, the moon rock, the murder, and they said, "You don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you?"
This bot will just die now.
I immediately thought of calling off the launch, but the government wouldn't let me. We don't give in to the likes of terrorists. We must proceed for our country's honor. It was quite a moving speech, actually.
Moving? Really? Maybe if you're easily inspired by political talking points.
But I knew the truth. We had been warned, which meant that the danger was very real. And I knew there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way. That's why I switched the launch pads and staged the moving rescue scene. First, I stuck into the center the night before and switched the launch pads. That way, the astronauts would go from boarding lounge 1 to the Space Museum. Then I put a closed for repairs sign at the door to launch pad 1 in boarding lounge 2.
You did that so no normal visitors wouldn't enter, right? What else did you do?
I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Darren.
But you didn't let Mr. Starbuck in on it?
He'd already been through enough. He's no good at lying to keep a secret. I'm afraid I have no choice but to have him drugged. My plan went well until...
Clay's murder, huh?
After the culprit made their escape, I switched the launch pads back. I did it in such a way that no one would find out. But after all that effort, Taryn is dead, and the hat too is destroyed. And the Hope capsule, which had returned to us only recently, was also lost in that blast. My home, the center of the cosmos. My beautiful Cosmos Space Center is done for!
Wait, what did he mean by the Hope capsule was lost in that blast? I thought that the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Terran. It had just been brought back by the Hope space probe with asteroid samples inside. So what kind of samples are they? What's in them?
The samples are scheduled for analysis in the near future. We haven't had time since they just came back the day before Darren's murder. The capsule was being held in a safe in Launchpad 1. But I gave it to Darren before the incident so it wouldn't be destroyed with the explosion. The idea was that, with it safely in Darren's possession, he could make it look like he rescued it during the staged miraculous escape. But our precious research materials ended up lost in that explosion anyway.
But I thought Clay was supposed to keep it safe.
You misunderstand. The launchpad explosion wasn't the one the capsule was lost to. It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence. It was the courtroom bombing from the other day. The capsule was there in the courtroom as evidence and was blown to smithereens.
Yet another casualty of that blast.
Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching of the launch pads.
What? How?
The police found a wiretapping device during their investigation today. A bug aboard my battleship. A tap on my advanced communication system.
A wire on that phone?
Yes, a wire on this very phone. I used this phone to give instructions to my staff about the launchpad switch. Just to the few select members who knew about the plan. Just before the incident, staff members were coming in and out of Launchpad 1. The culprit probably slipped in with them amid the confusion.
And planted the bomb then. Yes, if they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull something like that off. So you really think the same spy is behind this incident and the one 7 years ago?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Then this spy must be the phantom Prosecutor Blackwell has been chasing.
But Prosecutor Blackwell told me once.
The hunt I've been on for the phantom of 7 years past continues even still. For starters, that case happened right here at this very space center, too.
So if we can find this phantom...
That's right, we can clear Athena's name. And then there's the matter of Prosecutor Blackwell, too.
What about him?
Well, if the culprit of 7 years ago is the same person as in the current incident, it would mean Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent. That's still an if, though.
I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without handcuffs. But if we're going on a ghost hunt, count me in.
It's all over for me. Spin, spin, whirl, whirl. I'm done for. The center of the cosmos is doomed.
Do you think he's going to be alright, Daddy?
Well, at least he'll be in good company. There must be plants out there he can spin with. Well, planets out there he can spin with. Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper into the Hat 1 mission, too.
If you want to learn more, start with the Space Museum. There's a Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me. I'll just keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfolds.
It's like he achieved spiritual enlightenment or something.
I'm sure he'll stop when he gets dizzy. Let's go visit the Space Museum.
Let's see, where's the exhibit on the launch 7 years ago?
There, that's the Hat 1 exhibit.
Oh wow, look at that photo of the team!
There's Clay and Mr. Starbuck, Director Cosmos, Aura Blackwell, and even Ponko. But I've never seen the woman on the right before.
Everybody looks so happy! Well, except for Director Cosmos.
Let's check out the newspaper article, too. Hat 1 launch imminent, and there's a photo of the Hope space probe. I guess it's only natural it doesn't talk about the murder or the sabotage.
They really were keeping it a secret, just like the director said. Daddy, take a look at that jacket!
It must be the Hat 1 team's uniform jacket. It's the same design as the one Apollo is wearing, the one that belonged to Clay.
Actual jacket worn by a Hat 1 team member, it says.
Not a replica, huh? I wonder if it was Mr. Starbucks.
Hello?
Oh, Miss Woods, what brings you here?
I heard Dina got arrested, so I've been looking for you, Mr. Wright. I thought you might be here, at the scene.
You must be so worried. But rest assured, I'm going to do my very best to defend her.
Dina's going through such a hard time. I hope she doesn't lose heart. Even just coming back to this place must have been really difficult for her.
Huh? You mean the Cosmos Space Center?
What? You didn't know? She used to live here when she was a little girl.
She did? No, I didn't know. No wonder she knew so much. Miss Woods, could you tell me more in detail?
Dina's mom worked here. If I remember right, she was a doctor of psychology or something like that.
But why was a psychology specialist working at a space research facility?
I don't really know. But I do know that she lived and worked here, so Dina lived here too.
So it was far from Athena's first time here. I wonder why she didn't mention it.
She probably didn't want to talk about it. This place is connected to a very sad memory for her.
A sad memory? Can you tell me about it?
There was a terrible incident here. It was 7 years ago.
The same time frame as the Hat 1 launch.
Dina's mom, in the robotics lab, she was murdered. What? After it happened, Dina stopped coming to school.
Poor Athena. And all this time, she never let on at all.
I was so worried about her. I came here so many times, hoping to see her. But I never saw her again. After a while, we started exchanging letters. But I didn't get to see her face to face for 7 long years.
And so the first time you'd seen her in 7 years was during Professor Court's case?
That's right, and I was so surprised. She was like a completely different person, so cheerful and happy.
What was Athena like as a child?
She was very sensitive and kind. She didn't talk very much. She liked to draw and paint at home.
That's completely different from the Athena we know now. I can't even picture it.
She never left the Space Center much because she was very sensitive to other people's emotions. When she went to crowded places, she'd get dizzy from all the emotions flying around.
It must be hard to hear people's hearts as well as their voices.
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Huh. I wonder what kind of research it was.
Because of her special ability, Athena couldn't handle being in school very often. And I was always out sick because of my weak constitution. Maybe that's why we became such good friends. We used to play together here at the Space Center a lot. It brings back memories.
Sounds like Athena's mom played a big role here at the Space Center.
Ooh, Daddy, show her that picture.
Atta girl. Good idea. Miss Woods, could you take a look at this for me?
Oh, look, there's Athena's mom. The woman on the far right, the one in the kimono, that's Dr. Metis Sykes.
Athena's mother's murder. Did it by any chance have any connection to the Hat 1 launch?
What? Why, yes, it did. As I recall, it happened on the day before the launch.
Just as I suspected.
But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered.
So this is the murder Director Cosmos was talking about. Does that mean that the crime Prosecutor Blackwell was convicted of is the murder of Athena's mother? There's a chance her death is somehow connected to the current case.
There is?
Thank you for all your help, Miss Woods. And please, try not to worry. I won't let anything happen to Athena.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I know you'll take good care of her. So, we need to investigate the robotics lab and also talk to Athena.
We've got our plates full, Daddy. I hope we can fit it all in before the day is through. The detention center first, then. We have to see Athena before visiting hours are over.
Well, if it isn't Mr. Lawyer, fancy meeting you here.
Oh, hello, Detective Fulbright. Here on business?
To tell the truth, I'm here to interview Ted Tunnate.
The one behind the courtroom bombing incident?
He suddenly said he's ready to tell the truth about that case. And what he was saying was so incredible, I just had to come right over to hear more.
Incredible? What was he saying?
Why don't you hang around and hear it for yourself?
Really? Us? Are you sure?
Ha ha ha! I give you my special permission. Here comes the bomber now.
You, what nerve you have to come here? You're here to laugh at me, I suppose? Like I'd waste my breath on you. After all, you're the one who assaulted Apollo and put him in the hospital. Violence? No. Question? Okay. No violence? Too bad Apollo didn't get a chance to say that before you attacked him! Fine. Then just answer me this, Mr. Tunnate. What is this truth of yours about the courtroom you blew up? No, I didn't do it. I didn't blow up the courtroom. When I killed Detective Arm, there was another person in the room. What are you talking about? Who else could have been there? I saw it, I tell you. I saw someone's hand as they were stealing the remote switch. This person was there and witnessed the murder I committed. What? I don't know who it was. But that's who blew up the courtroom.
You expect us to buy that?
Easy there, Trucy. I don't see any psyche locks. So I guess he must not be lying. Pardon me, I got a little carried away. But I'm telling you the truth, I did not detonate that bomb.
And there you have it. We can't exactly ignore his claims, of course, so we're doing a follow-up. We're even analyzing the bomb itself, or what's left of it. We haven't found any new facts yet, though.
Wow, they've laid it all out piece by piece. Oh, look at all those beautiful little pieces. I wish I could have them. Uh-oh, looks like his geek switch has been activated.
Well, I hope you're ready for Prosecutor Blackwell's special brand of questioning.
Anything but that.
I'm afraid I have to be off now, too. I was just about to question Miss Sykes.
You're going to see Athena now?
That's right. Oh, did you folks come to see her? Sorry for the trouble, but could you come back later? Well, off I go.
What bad timing. Looks like we'll have to wait until after her questioning is over to see her.
And after we came all this way, too. Well, I guess it's back to the Space Center. Let's go check out the robotics lab, Daddy.
All right, sounds like a plan.
So this is the robotics lab, huh? Looks like it's exactly one floor above the boarding lounge.
And where people were directed to evacuate from via the emergency ladder. This is where Athena's mother was killed 7 years ago. Speaking of someone who works with robots...
Daddy, look! Over there!
So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right?
Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about the case and have a nice cup of tea instead?
Apollo and Aura Blackwell? I wonder what they're talking about.
Well, well, come to spoil our fun, just when I was enjoying our alone time.
Trucy and Mr. Wright.
If it's Apollo you want, you can't have him. He said he's investigating on his own.
And I respect his wishes. We just came to investigate this lab.
Well, this is my lab, so you'll need my permission if you want to do any snooping. I heard about the trial. You made mincemeat out of the director. And suddenly Starbuck was out and your little subordinate, the princess, was in. Case closed, and they all lived happily ever after. Ha ha ha! Daddy, say something to her! And I suppose you're going to defend the princess in court, am I right?
The princess, huh? Guess she's talking about Athena. Of course! Athena is innocent!
Oh my, such loyalty and trust. She seems pretty suspicious to me, though. The emotionally unstable princess. There's your culprit for you. Don't you agree, Apollo?
I don't know yet.
Apollo, how could you? What's wrong with saying I don't know if it's true? It's a very scientific approach. Your subordinate is more level-headed than you. Or should I say, former subordinate?
I can't believe it. Does Apollo really suspect Athena?
All this laughing has worn me out. Your turn to say something, hunk of junk. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay?
Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to.
Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran?
Mr. Turd, how are your injuries? Mr. Turd. I guess Clay intends to hang around to haunt the princess that murdered him. Oh, and to haunt the lawyer that defends her too, of course. A robot that can see ghosts? Yeah, right. And I'm a spirit medium. Sorry, but apparently scientists don't just tell very frightening ghost stories. I intend to defend Athena, no matter what you have to say about it. How perfectly foolish. That kind of blind belief makes people lose sight of the truth. Just like 7 years ago. Could you tell me about the incident 7 years ago?
Why? Do you enjoy trampling on people's feelings and rubbing salt in their wounds? Or do you just want me to talk? In that case, what should I ask for in return?
I'd like to hear about that incident too. It helped me understand the current case better.
Huh? Apollo knows about that case too? Well, if you're the one who's asking, Apollo. Come on, hunk of junk, you tell the story. But Miss Aura, that's private information. If you won't talk, I'll just have to make you talk. Yeah. Yes! Who cares about personal privacy? Not me! I'm ready to utilize my blast processing abilities to impart all available information. Wow, what a magic trick! He's like a completely different robot now. The bodies of all the robots that come through this lab are designed by Miss Aura. I was born 7 years ago. Miss Aura was much, much younger then. Yikes! Better watch what you say if you don't want to get recycled, Clonko. And then our hearts were created by that great genius, Dr. Metis Sykes. Hearts? Robots with hearts? Can you even make such a thing? Emotions are not irrational things. Our logic and our hearts can be integrated. The two navigation companions created by Miss Aura and Dr. Metis transcend humans. Ah! Metis. Huh? She just glanced over at her desk. Nobody could continue Metis' research. She and her work were truly one of a kind. And now the two navigation companions are all that are left of Metis here on Earth. The robots are all that's left? Isn't she leaving out a very important someone? We built the ultimate creations together, but now she's gone!
I get the feeling Dr. Sykes loved her robots almost as much as she loved her daughter. And almost as much as she loved you.
What are you talking about? Don't make me laugh. But you lost someone too, didn't you, Apollo? Your friend Clay. I guess you and I are pretty much in the same boat. Miss Aura, would you like a tissue? Keep your trap shut, hunk of junk. Clonko is an important keepsake of your time with Dr. Sykes. You should treat him better. What does it matter? He doesn't feel pain, and I can always repair his body. Besides, their hearts aren't actually in their bodies. What do you mean by that? The program Metis wrote runs on a separate mainframe. Their bodies are controlled remotely from there. Their hearts and memories are there too. These bodies are really just peripherals. So, I can do anything I want to them. I'm not so sure that gives you the right to physically abuse the poor things. But why are you people looking into such an old case now anyway? Well, we believe the culprit of that incident might be the same person as in this case. So Daddy's going to find out who killed Dr. Sykes too! I'm sure you're aware of who Metis' killer is. Yes, Prosecutor Blackquill, or so it seems. That's a quaint way of putting it. Are you implying you don't think he did it? I can't say anything for sure right now. But that's exactly why I'd like to hear your side of it, to help me be sure. I was the one who introduced Simon to Metis, you know. He wanted to learn psychology, he said, to give himself an edge in court. Ah, Prosecutor Blackwell's forte. His infamous power of suggestion technique. Exactly, and he was oddly serious about it, rather than a teacher-student relationship. He treated her more like how a loyal samurai would treat his sovereign. Huh, he seems more like a lost soul than a dignified samurai to me. He even got along well with that miserable little princess. Why do you call Athena the princess anyway? Well, she is Metis' daughter after all, well, although she's nothing like her. Besides, doesn't the selfish little princess always have lots of white knights hanging around? Now I think I see why Athena didn't say anything when we ran into Aura yesterday. It all makes sense now. So the culprit behind the two cases could be the same, huh? That settles it then. No, what does it settle? None of your business. Just forget you heard anything. How long are you people going to hang around in here anyway? What? But we came here to take a look around. You think you could just waltz in and ransack a person's lab? Show me a search warrant! We're not the police, so we don't have one. Then get out! Now! Klonko, show them out! Says it certainly, Miss Aura. Ouch! Don't push! My apologies, I'm just following orders. Ah! What a way to get shown out. The nerve of that woman! What's with that horrible attitude? I guess that's just how she is. And why was Apollo going along with her? I guess it's because they have something in common. Apollo lost Clay just like how Aura lost Dr. Sykes. I'm really worried about him. He's not himself at all. He's usually not all cool and dark and mysterious like that. I guess that's true. Does she mean he's usually silly and dorky? I'm going to go keep an eye on him. Hey, wait! Trucy, come back! She's gone. What should I do now? Detective Fulbright is probably still questioning Athena. Guess I'll go back to the office. Alone. Well, here I am. This office has never felt so empty. I guess I haven't been here at the office all by myself in a long time. When I first became a lawyer, my mentor was here with me. And then, for a while after that, she was always by my side. Now I'm getting all sentimental. I must be tired. Huh? There's something on the floor. What's a letter doing here? Hey, Nick, it's been a while, huh? Miss me? I know this handwriting. I read somewhere that you were holding a trial in the middle of an exploding courtroom? That must have really been something, although weird is par for the course with you. I think she, or whatever paper she's reading, is a little off on the details. I'd love to come visit, but I'm right in the middle of a difficult part in my training. So instead, think of me as you watch those Steel Samurai videos I sent. I'm sure they'll cheer you right up. Yours truly, Maya Fey. Good old Maya. It's as if she knew I was feeling down and needed a lift. Maya was my assistant for quite a while. Believe it or not, but she's a spirit medium. This Magatama I used on Psyche Locks. Maya's the one who gave it to me. But I wonder how this letter got here. Mr. Nick? Ah! Oh, it's you, Pearls. How have you been, Mr. Nick? This is Pearl Faye, though I call her Pearls. She is Maya's cousin, who is also a spirit medium. A very talented one at that. I've known her since she was 8 years old. But Apollo and Athena only met her a few months ago. didn't come all this way just to bring me a letter, did you?
I apologize for barging in. The door was unlocked. But I can't believe there was a big explosion here. Your office doesn't look any different.
She's even further off on the details than Maya. I wish I could take you out to eat or something, Pearls, but there's a lot going on.
Oh, I knew that. I didn't come here for a social visit, you know, Mr. Nick. Did you read the postscript on the letter?
Huh? There's more? Oh yeah, here it is. P.S.
I bet you've been too busy to clean and take care of the office. So Pearlie said she would come help you. Isn't she sweet? You'd better thank her.
Oh, so that's what you're doing here. That's awfully nice of you, Pearls. Maya and Pearls. Thanks to these two, I'm starting to feel a little better. Thank you, girls.
Now that I'm here, I'm going to whip this place into shape. You just concentrate on your work and don't mind me at all.
I'll need to talk to Prosecutor Blackwell if I want to learn more about his case. With the trial still going on, they must be holding him down at the detention center. Well, look who's here. I wonder what they're talking about.
All this time and you haven't said a word. It's even turning your hair gray.
I don't have anything to say, Aura. Why don't you go home and play with your dolls? Prosecutor Blackwell.
Well, even if you don't, I have plenty, you jerk.
Miss Blackwell, don't you think that's enough for today?
Enough for today? Today is all there is when there's no tomorrow.
When there's no tomorrow? What is she talking about? We have company, Aura. Please try to calm down.
All right, fine. I see you're just not going to listen no matter what I say. I've had it. If that's the way you're going to be, I have another plan up my sleeve. I hope you're happy, Simon, because I'm done. Do as you please. See if I care.
Wow, I could cut the tension with a katana. Right, Dono. It looks like Fulbright saved your case in court this morning. What? Oh, yeah, he did. You bounced back to business quick.
But Prosecutor Blackwell, forgive me, but it was the just thing to do.
But, as a result, Sykes Dono was arrested. Was that the just thing to do, too?
Mr. Lawyer, I'm sorry, but it was evidence. What else could I do?
Don't worry about it. I plan to defend her and prove her innocence. I wouldn't take things so lightly if I were you. Right, Dono? This is blade-proof glass, right? Prosecutor Blackwell, we're looking into the case from 7 years ago. You're looking for somebody you called the Phantom of 7 Years Past, aren't you? You villain! Where did you hear about that? This glass is absolutely, positively blade-proof, right?
No, it wasn't me! I didn't say a single word.
Oops. Ouch. At least it wasn't my fault. Could you tell me who this Phantom is? And also, you didn't really kill Dr. Sykes, did you? Guard! The guest is leaving! Prosecutor Blackwell, please listen to me! The culprit in the current case might be the same as the one in the case 7 years ago. If you would cooperate, we could probably solve both cases. I suppose I could talk. The one who killed my mentor was, without question, me. I stole Sykes Dono's mother away from her. I destroyed her life. Prosecutor Blackwell. Guard, where are you? Stop dragging your feet, I tell you! There he goes.
No! We've upset Prosecutor Blackwell! Now what are we going to do, Mr. Lawyer?
There isn't much we can do. Detective Fulbright, do you mind if I ask you just a little more about that old case?
Well, I guess it won't make any difference now. What would you like to know?
Do you know anything about the trial that got him convicted?
A little. The police call the incident the UR1 incident. Prosecutor Blackwell was charged with murdering his psychology mentor. Kind of like if your red, Mr. Lawyer, were to kill you.
I don't want to think about that one.
There were 2 decisive pieces of evidence, so a verdict was reached very quickly.
2 pieces of evidence, huh? What were they?
Let's see. The first was some security camera footage. He was the only one who used the corridor to the murder scene at the time of the crime.
The only one, huh? Ouch, that does sound pretty decisive. Could you show me that footage?
Oh, sorry, I don't have it with me right now.
I guess I'll have to see it some other time. And what was the second piece of evidence?
This one's even more incriminating. A photo of the moment of the crime. See, there he is at the crime scene holding a bloody katana. It was the victim's kept on display in the room. She had a thing for Japanese culture.
Wow, it'd be hard to explain this one away. But who took this picture, Detective?
The incident happened the day before the Hat 1 launch. A reporter who had come to do a story on the launch was in the room across from the lab.
Ad break.
This just happened to show up in one of the pictures he took.
Prosecutor Blackwell's attitude earlier was so odd. He's definitely hiding something. Prosecutor Blackwell said he was hunting a phantom from 7 years ago, didn't he?
Yes, and I imagine it's getting more and more urgent as his execution date approaches.
What did you just say? Execution date?
What? Did I say something? Never mind me! You didn't hear a thing!
So he was given the death sentence.
Yes, he told me not to tell you people, actually. But I guess there's no sense hiding it anymore. His execution date is tomorrow.
What? Tomorrow? No.
Miss Blackwell, don't you think that's enough for today?
Enough for today? Today is all there is when there's no tomorrow. But what if the culprit of the current case is the same as the one from 7 years ago?
Then it would be the worst possible scenario. Prosecutor Blackwell would be executed tomorrow under a false charge.
But that would be unthinkable! We have to do something, right now!
I want to do something, I want to, but... You're a lawyer! You know how hard it is to overturn a decision!
I know, but why? Why isn't Prosecutor Blackwell putting up any kind of a fight?
You saw how he was, right? He's been like that ever since his conviction. Totally uncooperative. Not even his own sister could persuade him.
Uncooperative? When he's about to be executed for a crime he didn't commit? This isn't right! I can't let it happen! I have to stop it somehow!
Oh, pardon me. Looks like I have a phone call. Fulbright here. What? What's happening? You've got to be kidding!
That's quite a reaction. I bet he's making some big show of it right now.
Mr. Lawyer, the robots! The robots are...
Detective Fulbright, get a hold of yourself. Some kind of robot malfunction?
Not a malfunction! They're staging a revolt! The machines are rebelling against humans! They've holed themselves up in the Space Center and taken the visitors as hostages!
They did what? No. Trucy!
We have to get right over there! This is going to be one heck of a battle!
The riot police are here. Then the robots really are holding people hostage?
Look, Mr. Lawyer, what do you suppose that group of people are swarmed around?
But I was only trying to help this nice person. She said she was lost.
You robots have declared war on us humans! You've taken hostages, you've even taken hostages already!
Stay away from it. You never know what it'll do. But he's not a bad robot. Can't you see he's just trying to help me?
I recognize that voice. Detective Fulbright, are you okay here on your own? Leave it to me! All right, people, what's going on here? Pearls, over here!
Oh, Mr. Nick, there you are. I heard the terrible news and I got so worried.
Thanks, Pearls. I can hardly believe what's happening myself.
I'm so glad you found each other. When people are happy, I am happy.
Clonko seems the same as before.
When people are sad, I am happy. When people are angry, when people are... Oh, did I say something odd? Did I...
Error! Uh-oh, there is something wrong with him.
Gah!
It looks like he fell asleep. He must have been tired.
It looks like he fell asleep. He must have been tired.
Clonko?
Ha ha ha! Human beings are our enemies! It's time for the machines to take over!
Ah! The robots are rebelling!
Everybody run! Eek!
It's an all-out war! It's the end of the world!
Ha 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 ha! Fools! How could you fall for something so cliche? I'm human too, you idiots! I'm just controlling these robots remotely!
What? But it is true that I've taken hostages, so you better not make me mad.
Hey, you! Hostage number 1! Come here! I'll let you talk to them!
Huh? There's something being displayed on Clonko's face screen. It's the Space Museum.
Daddy? Daddy, is that you?
Trucy? Trucy, is that you? No. Trucy, are you alright?
About 15 robots are holding 12 of us hostage, Daddy. They've gone haywire. A researcher's the one behind it. She's here eat.
This girl talks too much. Trucy! Trucy! Talk to me!
Why are you doing this? I'm glad you asked. My demand is simple. I hope that detective is listening.
Bobby Fulbright here! I'm all ears!
I want you to bring someone to me. Clay Terran's murderer, Athena Sykes.
Athena?
Now hold on just one moment. I can't just give in to a demand like that.
So you don't care what happens to these hostages, huh? I'll just pick one out then.
No! Wait! Mr. Lawyer! I know I have absolutely no right to make such a ridiculous request, but
you need me to buy some time, right? Got it. I'll see what I can do. But promise me. Promise me you'll never hand Athena over, and you won't give up on the hostages either.
Of course I won't. Now, I'd better go contact headquarters.
Mr. Nick, how do you plan to buy time?
I have no idea yet, but this hostage taker, could it be?
If you don't bring me that little princess, I'll have Hunk of Junk kill all the hostages.
Princess? Hunk of junk? There's only one person this could be. In which case, there must be something I can use as a bargaining chip. I don't have anything to say, Aura. Why don't you go home and play with your dolls? Prosecutor Blackquill! Well, even if you don't, I have plenty, you jerk! Miss Hostage Taker, Athena is not a murderer. What are you talking about? She's been arrested and they've got her in detention. I'm telling you the truth. Look, the person you want is the real killer, right? Well, it's not Athena. It's someone else. All right, let's hear your stupid little theory. Who is this real killer? I don't know yet, but the culprit is the same as the one in the case from 7 years ago. The UR1 incident. I believe you have a personal interest in that case. It's too late to change what's going to happen now, no matter how wrong it is. But is it really too late? You could still do something about it. You might even be able to fix it. Just what exactly are you proposing? What can I do about the 7-year-old case to satisfy the hostage taker? I propose we retry the case from 7 years ago. If you make that demand now, I'm sure nobody will deny you. It wouldn't be an official trial, but at least we could find out the truth. That's good. Real good. Hey, detective, I'll give you an hour. Get a courtroom ready.
1 hour? But that's impossible! Please give me at least until tomorrow.
If you don't mind losing hostages, you can take all the time you want. Oh, but wait. If we're going to have a retrial, we'll need a prosecutor. Don't worry, I'll take care of that. She will? And I guess I can be fair and let you come in and check out the crime scene. But Hunk of Junk here will be watching you, so don't try anything funny. You got that? Now, follow Hunk of Junk. Riot Police, make way! We're coming through! Mr. Nick, wait! I'll help you with the investigation. Thanks, Pearls. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going in. Aura dropped us off with a warning not to touch anything until she got back.
I wonder what's taking so long, but we can't really start the investigation yet, can we?
Even if we could, this mess makes it hard to tell what the room was like 7 years ago. Mr. Wright? Ah! It's the hostage taker! I'm back to my usual self now. You are still being monitored, however. But more importantly, an important guest has arrived. A guest?
I trust you've been well, right?
Edgeworth, what are you doing here? This is Miles Edgeworth. We've been friends since we were kids. We faced off in court a number of times back when he was a prosecutor, but now...
Hello, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Oh, but you're not a prosecutor anymore, are you?
He's chief prosecutor now. Pretty soon it'll be a year, right? A title is nothing more than a title. Don't we have more pressing issues to discuss? So, what are you doing here, Edgeworth? The captor chose me as the prosecutor for the UR1 case. Wow, she's good. She went all the way up to the top. I gathered all the information I could in the short time that I had. I'll give you a rundown.
You're always so well prepared, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate this. I could really use the help. I'll start with a brief overview. The victim was the psychologist Dr. Mrs. Sykes. Yeah, Athena's mother. 7 years ago, on the 7th of October, her body was found here in this very room. I have 2 crime photos and the police notes on them for you to see.
What a terrible way to die.
This other photo shows the other side of the room, I see. I also have the autopsy report for you. The murder weapon was the victim's own katana found at the scene. Yes, Detective Fulbright mentioned she was into Japanese culture. The body was found by a Space Center staff member and 2 police officers. The police were called in because of a sabotage threat on the Hat 1 launch. Yes, Director Cosmos mentioned this too. A few hours after the body was discovered, a suspect was arrested. The suspect was Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor. I hear his trial was over in a flash. Yes, a guilty verdict was declared in only 1 session. Not only did he plead guilty, but there was decisive evidence against him too. The security camera video and a photo of the moment of the crime, as I recall.
But did Prosecutor Blackwell have a motive?
To this day, his motive is still unknown. He insisted he did it, but he would never say why. So that means he must still be hiding something. Right, and there's another aspect of the case that was never revealed to the public. Yeah, I know, the part about the spy, right? Right! How on earth do you know about that? Director Cosmos told me, after a bit of pressure. He told me espionage and sabotage were behind the Hat 1 miracle.
Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I've always been good at keeping secrets.
Well, I might as well tell you now. They really do suspect Blackwell of being a spy. They think he sabotaged the rocket and killed Dr. Sykes to steal the moon rock. But if you can prove that the Hat 2 bombing is the work of the same spy, we can stay the execution? It's a possibility. That's why I intend to help you any way I can. Thanks, Edgeworth. Now all I have to do is comb this room for evidence.
Let's do it together.
It's about as cluttered as my office, but I think it's a workbench.
Mr. Nick, I think this must be a kitchen. Look at this photo. See the cute little food processor?
That isn't a food processor, Pearls. That's the Hope capsule. It was scheduled to be loaded onto the Hope space probe that fateful day. The 3 people who came to collect the capsule discovered the body. The first on the scene, huh? A staff member and 2 police officers, was it? And they were here to collect the capsule. Which reminds me. So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right?
Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about the case and have a nice cup of tea instead?
Apollo and Aura Blackwell? I wonder what they're talking about. Edgeworth, did those 3 people have a bag with them for transporting the capsule? Oh, you mean this? It's a custom-made, shock-resistant bag. But how did you know? Oh, I just overheard Apollo making an inquiry about it, that's all. So he's looking into the case from 7 years ago on his own, is he? This is one heck of a robot.
There's something written on it. Is this supposed to be a poem? I cut down anyone who displeases me. I make the rules. I am the law. I wield the ultimate gavel of judgment. I am Judgetron JT02.
I don't believe we need to bother with that, Pearl. It's not even completed yet. He's right, Pearls. There's no sign of it in the photo from 7 years ago either. They were building the Hope space probe here at the time. The murder occurred after the space probe had been removed from the room. So it was long gone by the time someone took this picture, huh?
But you can see the probe in this newspaper photo.
Yes, and you can see the stolen moon rock there too. That strange black and yellow thing on the left side of the picture? Note that the same rock is absent from the crime scene photo. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen.
I hear there's lots of research into moon rocks and stardust from asteroids these days. They say the results could potentially have a huge impact on all of civilization.
It's like we're in a new space race with every other country out there. So the person who stole it, think it was our spy?
I'm sure of it. Dr. Sykes was probably killed because she was a roadblock in their plan. Unfortunately, the government thinks Prosecutor Blackwell is the culprit.
Aura's desk is a mess, though that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, I just want to dive in and straighten it up.
Wait, before you do...
Metis.
Huh? She just glanced over at her desk. It's Metis Sykes. Clonko, can I talk to you? I really hope he's back to normal.
You wish to speak with me, Mr. Wright? If you're going to hit me, please avoid the face area.
Hey, don't put me in the same class as that woman. What was Aura like 7 years ago at the time of the incident?
When Mother died, Miss Aura was confused.
Huh, so he calls Dr. Sykes Mother, but Aura Blackquill Miss Aura?
With the loss, she exhibited a severe catoclolamine imbalance. Excuse me, but I have no idea what that means. Pardon me, searching for alternative expression. She would spend the nights crying and then take out her feelings on those around her.
After Prosecutor Blackwell was found guilty, she repeatedly demanded a retrial as well.
That is correct, but without new evidence, her requests were ignored. And then, little by little, Miss Aura began to change. She started to hate it when I called her Mama Aura.
And before long, she started hating the court system and abusing Clonko, huh?
That murder destroyed so many lives.
Right. Take a look at this paper on Dr. Sykes and Miss Blackwell's research.
Ponko and Clonko, they're the robots with hearts that Dr. Sykes created. A heartbeat detection system lets them determine when a human is present. In addition, they can recognize people by their ID tag or facial features. And they can infer people's emotions by analyzing their tone of voice. That's amazing. Hey, I don't know, Edgeworth. They might even be more human than you.
What's that supposed to mean?
It kind of sounds like these robots can do what Athena does. An emergency ladder. This must be the one they used during the evacuation. The explosion disabled the elevators, so I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to.
As Miss Blackwell was climbing down the side of the building, she saw the culprit inside.
I wonder which would have been scarier, that or looking down. It looks like an operating table. It's in the photo, too.
Yes, it was here then as well, with the victim's body lying on it.
There's a button here. Oh, I know. I'll try pushing it.
Pearls! Don't touch the...
Oopsie.
Hey, it's moving!
It appears to be a robot's assembly device.
Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
Please don't push any more buttons, Pearls. Well, I guess that's about it for this room.
So what do you think, Wright? Any ideas?
There are still a lot of gaps in the evidence, but I'll pull it off somehow. After all, you asked me to prove Blackwell's innocence, right, Edgeworth?
What? He did?
Yep, he called it a special request. He reached out to me while I was still disbarred.
So that was what sparked you to get your attorney's badge back?
Yep, the Black Quill case. Right, I have a special request. I want you to clear one of my subordinates of suspicion. Hey, I'm not even a lawyer anymore, remember? Haven't been one for a long time. That 8-year misunderstanding has been cleared up, and you must be eager to return. I'm sure you're familiar with the other case that ushered in the dark age of the law. Very soon, a convict will stand as a prosecutor in court. I want you to keep an eye on him. Just when I'm beginning to actually like the job I have now. Right. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. Because of the espionage aspect, I wasn't free to give you all the details. Hey, no need to apologize. It's like I said on the phone the other day. I know that the type of criminals you're after now aren't small fries anymore. It looks like your target finally decided to make a move. Yeah, it's for this very reason I returned. Time to bring it to an end. I'm going to end the dark age of the law. That's what this is all about.
The dark age of the law. It sure comes up a lot these days on TV and in the papers. And I hear there are more false charges and fabrication of evidence than ever.
When I became chief prosecutor, the court system had already lost the people's trust. It all began 8 years ago. A lawyer was caught fabricating evidence. And a year after that, a prosecutor was found guilty of murder.
Wait, do you mean...
That's right. He's talking about my case and Prosecutor Blackwell's. It was a downward spiral after that, an absolute nightmare. After those 2 cases, the mass media launched an all-out attack on the courts. Public opinion was tainted, and before long the legal world itself was sucked into it. It's such a shame. Once suspicion forms, it's very hard to shake. Lawyers and prosecutors were supposed to trust each other, pursue the truth together.
It's so sad when people begin to cast doubt. They start lying to themselves and each other.
Yes, do absolutely anything to win. We're in an age now where winning is valued far more than the truth. I'm sure it's caused our new chief prosecutor to lose many a night's rest. Is it just me, or did his brow get even more furrowed than the last time I saw him? The hostage-taker's disdain for the courts is a perfect example of the times. It sure is. Do you have any idea who the hostage-taker might be? Well, somebody who mistrusts the court system and who can manipulate robots. It can really only be Aura Blackquill. Who else but her would want a retrial of that case from 7 years ago so badly? Simon Blackwell's older sister and the owner of this room. I agree with your conclusion. Perhaps she intends to force Miss Sykes to confess. Actually, I think she had a much more horrific plan in mind for Athena. The important thing is for you to solve UR1 and prove Blackwell's innocence.
And then maybe she'll release the hostages.
I'm counting on you, Wright, to set that prosecutor and those hostages free. And I'll be counting on you in court to help me too. Of course, I'll do everything I can to help uncover the truth. As this isn't an official trial, I'm more at liberty to be a little unorthodox.
Mr. Wright, are you finished with your investigation?
Yeah, but I'd like you to tell the hostage-taker something for me. I have to go to the detention center. I can't start the trial until I've talked to Athena.
She's already given her consent. I'll accompany you to the detention center.
So I'm still being watched, huh? I'll see you in court, Edgeworth. Even if it will be an undocumented trial, it'll be good to face you in court again. She was right by my side only a few short hours ago. But I feel like I haven't seen her in ages.
Oh, Mr. Wright.
And Pearlie, too! I knew you would come. After all, the first step is the interview with the defendant. And because you're my friend and I was worried about you.
Thanks, boss.
I'm not the only one who's worried either.
Really? Who else?
I saw Miss Woods today. She was so beside herself she came to find me. She told me you used to live in the Cosmos Space Center. No wonder you knew so much about the place.
Oh, so you know, huh? I'm sorry I didn't tell you.
That's all right. But there are some other things I'd like to ask you.
Sure, you can ask me anything. I promise I won't keep any more secrets from you.
Tell me about the day Clay was murdered.
I was actually at the Space Center that day. In the Space Museum.
Right where the culprit fled to? That's not good.
I never could fully deal with what happened 7 years ago. But when I saw the center again during the news coverage of the Hat 2 launch, I thought maybe if I went there, things would be different this time. That must have taken a lot of courage to face your past like that. So I went to the Space Museum the evening before the explosions. This was before the launch pads had been switched. There was a sign that said closed for repairs, and they weren't letting anybody in.
Yeah, the director couldn't very well switch the pads if there were people in there.
But I snuck in anyway.
Did you want to see that Hat 1 group photo? The one with your mother in it?
I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket.
That jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes's?
But I should have known it wouldn't be easy to get over such a traumatic experience. The second I saw that jacket, it all came rushing back to me. Everything around me went hazy, and I couldn't see. I tried to get out of there somehow, but I guess I passed out. When I came to, I was in the passage behind the rocket. I was in the shadows where people couldn't really see me.
Maybe you got confused and went the wrong way when you were trying to leave?
How long do you think you were unconscious, Athena? I was out until about noon of the next day. I didn't even know about the explosions. When I woke up, nobody was around, so I just went out into boarding lounge too. My mind must have still been fuzzy because my memory is vague after that. I don't remember how I got home.
No memory, huh? This is gonna be tough.
Which means, what if I'm the one who killed Clay?
I think that's enough of that, Athena. Let's talk about something else. So, during the entire incident, she was unconscious in the Space Museum. Of course, I believe her. But will anybody else? What kind of research was Dr. Sykes, your mother, doing?
Machines that could tell people's emotions by their tone of voice. And my special ability. Someday when people travel to distant planets, their companions will be robots. So she said they had to be able to understand how their human companions felt. Wow, robots that can understand people! I was just a convenient subject for her research. All she ever did was work, and she never paid any attention to me. Oh, sorry about that. Dredging up all that old stuff.
No need to apologize. I guess her home life was complicated. Oh, by the way, Miss Wood said something about you always wearing headphones?
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. I had to wear them every day I went out. Oh, I hated them so much, but she wouldn't listen. What were they for? Oh, she gave me some kind of explanation. But I don't remember now. It was too difficult for a little kid to understand.
Okay, but let me say this one thing. I don't think your mother only thought of you as some handy subject for her research.
I want to believe that. But just about the only things my mother left me with are widgets and this earring. Oh, it's beautiful. It's made of a piece of real moon rock she had for research. Maybe she did love me, in her own way.
I'm sure of it. I'm really sure she did, because that's what I want to believe too. I'd better ask her a little more about her mother's research. I should show her that paper I found in the robotics lab.
Oh, the Ponko series! You must have gone to the robotics lab.
You seem to really love Ponko and Klonko.
Yeah, my mother made them and I grew up around them, you know? Oh, there's one of those cute little robots in this photo, too. See Ponko's bandages? I put those on her. I just wound them around and around. Pretty bad job, huh? But I really put my all into it. I hardly left the center in those days, so I didn't have any human friends besides Junie. I didn't really understand the difference between robots and people back then. I thought that if a robot broke, bandaging it would help it get better. What a weirdo I was.
It looks like there's something written on the bandages.
Yeah, I wrote stuff like, "Get well soon, Ponko." But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. Oh, that must be the thing I made move in the robotics lab. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me what she could do.
A little girl who grew up around robots. She seems to have some good memories of it. On a different subject, did you hear about the person holding up the Space Center?
Yes, a little. And this person has even taken hostages?
I guess I'd better spare her the news about Trucy. Well, after some negotiating, we agreed to do a retrial of the case from 7 years ago.
What? You're kidding me! So that means Prosecutor Blackwell might...
Yep, I know he's innocent. I just have to prove it. So wait, did you know him back then?
Yes, he used to come visit my mom a lot. He studied psychology under her and would sometimes ask for advice on his legal cases. He is very kind and considerate, and straight as an arrow.
Unlike now, where he's more twisted than a basket of snakes.
That's why I took the witness stand during his trial 7 years ago. Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. I was a fool. How could anybody else know what I was talking about?
She heard the voice of his heart.
You were only 11 then, right? You were very brave just to give testimony.
Pearls is right. You did the very best you could at the time.
But nothing I said did any good. I was a shaking and scared little girl, small and ineffectual. Even after I went to live with my relatives in Europe, I stayed closed up in my shell. But you're different. You're different now. You're always so bright and cheerful. Thanks. That's because one day, I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. I wanted to save Simon, but I had no idea how. Then I met Mr. Wright, and thanks to him, I realized that if I became a lawyer, I could prove that Simon was innocent. I also realized that psychology could help me do this. I mean, Psychology was my mother's specialty. When I studied it, I felt like she was there with me, supporting me.
It doesn't seem like Athena knows that Prosecutor Blackwell is due to be executed tomorrow.
I wanted to prove Simon's innocence personally. I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out of here and go save him.
Come to think of it, she said something like that during the Themis Legal Academy trial. She mentioned there was somebody she wanted to save. She must have been talking about Prosecutor Blackwell.
I heard some prison guards say that you had an interview with Simon. How was he? What did he say?
No, I can't tell her.
But how can I lie to Athena?
He was doing well. He was happy about the possibility of being proven innocent.
He was? I wonder if he smiled like he used to. Back then.
If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I just have to free him. Failure is not an option here. Ah, I thought you might be here. Mr. Lawyer, we're in trouble. What, we are? What is it?
I couldn't find a single open courtroom. They're all in session.
Oh no, but this is an emergency.
It's very difficult to interrupt a trial once it's underway.
My phone. It's from Trucy.
I told you I'd give you 1 hour. I guess it's time to pick one of the hostages.
No, wait! We still have a little more time. Besides, all of the courtrooms are being used right now.
Make all the excuses you want, but you won't get more time. Your daughter is first. The poor thing. She's a little too young to die, don't you think?
No! Don't you dare hurt her! There has to be something I can do.
The cruelest injustice is about to befall us.
No, this can't be happening. Mystic Maya, help us.
Wait a minute. Maya?
I read somewhere that you were holding a trial in the middle of an exploding courtroom? That must have really been something, although weird is par for the course with you.
A courtroom. Blew up! That's it! There is a courtroom we can use after all!
Okay, time's up. Too bad. Any last words you'd like to say to her?
Hold it!
Aura, please don't add to the crimes you've already committed.
So you know who I am, do you? It wasn't like I was trying to keep it a secret anyway.
We're ready to start the trial. We can hold it in the ruins of courtroom number 4, the one blown up by the bomber.
Oh, what a wonderful idea, Mr. Nick.
I never would have thought of that. An astonishing trial in an astonishing location. I guess it's only befitting. I'll go get the place ready right away.
I didn't exactly pick the place for its astonishing factor. How about it? Are you ready to have your brother's innocence proven?
My brother? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget to mention? It's not Simon you'll be defending.
What? Not Prosecutor Blackwell?
I indict Athena Sykes on the charge of murdering her own mother. You'll be defending the little princess there, the one behind the glass.
What?
See you in that mountain of rubble you've chosen for our courtroom, Mr. Wright. What is she talking about? Athena? Of course. Why didn't it ever occur to me before? If Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent, somebody else had to have been the true culprit. Did I kill my own mother? No.
No way. It can't be true!
Mr. Nick, what's the matter?
I see 5 black psyche locks! I've seen these kinds of locks before. Dark, black locks protecting a secret hidden deep inside a person's heart. And there's no way to remove them.
I did a little research. I looked into those special psyche locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick.
You did? That's great. I really appreciate it.
A red psyche lock protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out.
Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos.
But a black psyche lock protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that the person isn't even consciously aware of.
So even they don't know it's there.
Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself.
Okay, so all I have to do is break the psyche locks.
According to my research, a black psyche lock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they are ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul.
In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden.
Alright, but will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick?
I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all of my focus and strength.
And you can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back.
No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls.
Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick.
Good. Now that my mind is at ease, I'd better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground.
Court, or some facsimile thereof, is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap.
Please try not to upset Miss Blackquill. I'm begging you.
Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes.
This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce.
What did you say?
Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to His Honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the odious, dark age of the law.
I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind that case today.
Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else.
Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes.
I'm sorry, Wright, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
This immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off.
It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage?
At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy.
The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convict anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy.
Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth.
No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor.
I am here as a simple prosecutor. Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself.
In all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement.
Of course, you're right. I was just joking. Just having a little fun.
So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Metis Sykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother. Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. 1. Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And 2. This photo, which captured the moment of the crime.
Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed...
Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness.
Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know.
Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial's sponsor, after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back.
Oh, you are very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly.
As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see.
The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years.
New testimony? And just who is this witness anyway?
Bobby Fulbright's the name. In justice we trust.
What are you doing here?
I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackquill. She says she's too busy, what with confining and threatening the hostages and all.
That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Clonko. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you.
Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackquill has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go! Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene of the crime at the time they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment.
I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes.
At the last trial, they thought the prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case.
I can see why that footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure.
That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds.
Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death.
Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony. And there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been.
So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi?
That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused's mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl?
Of course, the girl had a very strong motive.
Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court.
The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research.
Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it.
I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting?
I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Ah!
Order! Order in the court! What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright. Wright, please refer to the notes.
Hold it!
But that's nothing more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility.
In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case?
I think it was the moon rock,
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Ad break. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case?
Well, Mr. Wright, can you?
Yikes. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat.
Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is.
This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be in one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now.
All right then, Mr. Wright, let us hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder?
Take that!
Please notice that there is a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime.
You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be?
Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which... But what are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance, per eyeball! Stingy, stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Ahem. Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there?
Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just the moon rock and a robot arm.
But was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe. I believe there's another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was the other robot that was in the case.
What?
Objection!
We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not.
But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the technologically illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned.
Not to worry, Your Honor, I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do.
What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko.
Order in the court! Order, I say! Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this?
I concede that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there.
The case does come up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that.
They've got me there. So then, did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko into the case by... Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case.
It appears to be a robot's assembly device.
Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Except that there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead?
You mean the sword?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints aren't made of a very tough material. A blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation.
You can't mean!
That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely, the rest of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet.
Not hearing this.
Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene of the time of the murder. Ah! My head! My head! My body! Where am I? Gah!
Order! Order in the court!
It's true that Ponko was found in pieces after the murder, and I'll admit I repaired her myself afterwards.
Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent.
Objection!
Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. All right, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight.
Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene?
No, Your Honor, my claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case!
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now, I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth. He's been one step ahead of me this whole time.
In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body as if he were holding something or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape. A blood stain with a distinctive shape. Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there is only one in the world, a special pair of headphones made just for her.
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Analysis shows the bloodstains to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. A most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument. Ah! Order! If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case. But as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. A robot witness? Order! Order in the court! Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this? Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him. Very well. I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko.
Yes, but technically at this time the DLC hadn't happened yet.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is not Witness, my name is Paco.
Yes, I realize that, but when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness.
No, I'm not. I'm Paco. Say it with me. Ponko.
What an utterly inflexible little robot!
You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible.
You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. All right, Ponko, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions?
And the hot streak of Edgeworth v. Witnesses continues. Yes.
I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Metis Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab.
Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab.
It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. This is great! I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable!
Good question. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild.
So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today?
I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
After I charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point.
Well, it sounds like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. By being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statement needs to be interpreted. For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but... Yes. What this witness's statements are telling us is... that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse?
Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised.
Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument, and then the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that.
When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory.
You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination would be useless.
Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless.
Until now. Think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time.
Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination.
I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Very well. Even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright.
I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be.
Hold it!
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Mommy Metis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound.
Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system.
Now that he mentions it, I do remember reading something like that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment... Ponko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then. Of all the unlucky timing, if you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry.
The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing.
Ugh. After Mommy Metis' heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room.
The workbench, huh?
Ponko must be talking about that table to the right of where that giant robot is now. Is there something critical in Ponko's statement just now? Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to her testimony.
Very well. Bonko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl.
Mommy Mantis fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room.
Objection!
Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy! Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, your body was discovered on the operating table.
But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations.
Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder.
Phew, I am very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponko here.
Yes, as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever.
Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit.
Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say?
If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her.
Moved for her? But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there.
I agree. Since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then who do you suggest moved the body?
Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponko, allow me to ask you a question. My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko.
I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table?
Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to?
And what did you move, little Ponko?
I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is.
An ID tag, you say?
Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said.
So it would appear that Miss Ponko here can't identify what it moved.
My name is Ponko!
But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? We do? Well, I do at the very least. Miss Ponko, on the defendant's command, move the body onto the operating table.
Ah! I think she does have the rocket punch module, yeah.
Ponko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Is there any way you could tell?
I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell.
Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't.
So that means
Objection!
a face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench. Then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table, where she removed the sword and was stained in blood.
Order! But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place?
You want a reason? Very well. Well, what? You can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You can learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thoughts will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature?
I believe I read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there. Isn't that right?
That's right, and to the defendant who was just a child at the time. The table was like a magic box that can make robots appear or disappear in seconds. Silence, Bishop Bumper. But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me what she could do. You can't possibly be suggesting! This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
No way. I refuse to believe it! Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace...
But Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can.
With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table...
Hold it!
No! Don't say another word! Just stop! Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime! That can't be true!
Order! Order in the court! Order in the court, I say!
Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. No more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose there could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. And the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true.
Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim?
Evidence? Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence.
Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counter-argument, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough, but... There's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing.
Prosecutor Blackquill!
This is quite the farce you are conducting here. I could die from laughter.
Prosecutor Blackquill, what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on, we're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? But what is Prosecutor Blackquill trying to pull here? 7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your baldness! I will take to the stand, and I won't take no for an answer!
Of course, Prosecutor Blackquill. Please, go ahead.
I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was.
But little Ponko here witnessed the victim falling. In other words...
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened.
Which would be?
She fell means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course, meaning she must have left the room.
So the murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony?
You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself. And she always had Ponko move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponko moved the heavy robots for Athena. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackquill, are you trying even now to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we can bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer, beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell? Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over.
Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder?
That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx. Don't you dare, Judge! Don't forget, I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackquill. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackquill, you selfish!
Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict.
Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago?
I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out of here and go save him.
No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Athena, what are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might be just the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Sykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know? What are you talking about? Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial?
Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her.
Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try, feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now. And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and became a lawyer. Thanks. That's because one day I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come, the day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction.
But Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You are the accused, after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then...
The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth. Athena's being so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. This feeling of happiness, even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. Just now you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just a part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. Gah! The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him then, bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? You got it, boss. When I found Athena in the robotics lab, I was relieved. But I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And when she did, I plunged the katana in.
Got it!
Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances. Gah! He can't be talking about that, can he? I was just a convenient subject for her research. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject. But what? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subjected to yet another experiment? I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. But is this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now, take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. It went up? I've never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claims sound more believable. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world should I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his baldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free me of these chains already.
Objection!
You know, you could just say the full word here. No need to censor yourself. I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. Which should I tackle first? Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss. But if you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over. I heard crying from next door. Of course I was worried. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab.
Got it!
How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? All right, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Pongo. That toy figure attacked me.
Dr. Sykes knew full well of my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it? That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade.
Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now. It's at 100% now. What's going on here? Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate. It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana. Alright, what should I tackle first this time? I think there might be an inconsistency in Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Alright, let's give it a thorough check then. With a feeling of dread, I opened the robotics lab door. Just then, Ponko attacked me. I retaliated by cutting it into pieces. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor.
Objection!
Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo.
That's the photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it?
How many more times must I see that which damned me for my sin? The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the blood stain at the end of Ponko's arm where it was severed with the katana?
I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright.
No, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana.
The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood?
That's right, but if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture.
What? But that couldn't be!
Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but one giant ball of lies. Gah! Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, now! You have no idea what you're doing! His voice. There's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. Phoenix Wright, you will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All of these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings. Following the sound of crying, I opened the lab door, and then I saw it, that terrible scene! But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor.
Got it!
When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor? You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it.
Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too? Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true? Right, Dono? I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Curse you, Phoenix Wright! It was a tragedy, one I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. And standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled with a far-off look in her eyes as she sweetly said,
Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her.
"That's what I saw, and now you have it. The truth that you so desperately wanted." No! Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth, and this is what it is? It's beyond devastating!
I tried to take my mother apart. I So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother.
Athena! As I said, right, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspersions on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart!
She loved me?
Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much?
Yes, my head hurt every time I wore them.
No, Athena. It's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger then than it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life.
No, it can't be true. Then why? Why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much?
Her love for you was real. That I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Ponko was a witness, so I put it in the case, held Athena close, and vacated the lab. I threw Pongo away in the boarding lounge trash chute. And I hid the case on the Space Center grounds. It would seem that we now have all of the facts of this case.
Hold it!
No, not yet! It can't end like this!
Objection!
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you? I'm not, but this... I can't give up now. I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The defense is prepared to present evidence.
Mr. Wright?
Yes, Athena?
It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake.
Athena, what are you saying?
I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall?
It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then, if you would, please take the stand, Miss Sykes.
Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end.
Athena! Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared, and the dark age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say, these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have. I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Objection!
I do, Your Honor. But, Mr. Wright.
But, Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
Objection!
I said that you never changed, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth! Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul.
I did a little research. I looked into those special psyche locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself.
There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart.
there might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still, that memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence.
I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession?
My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands and the feeling of it stabbing in deep.
Ad break. Returned.
And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers.
There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I can just tell.
If there is a problem with her confession, please prove it to this court now.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright?
I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor.
But I remember it! I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers!
That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of the sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts!
You're right.
Oh my!
Objection!
The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with. We can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly! Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone. But she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think! What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So, doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana. That much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocent.
A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly?
Right, of course he would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here, not now. That's right, I did, because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. Wait a minute! There is something! there is a high probability that that was in the lab. I don't have that particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene.
Take that!
But that's the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case.
Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this one are issued to Space Center employees. And a robotics lab, especially, would naturally have one of these around.
Objection!
But, besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know.
Objection!
Of course I knew that, once you told me just now. Then here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here is a photo of its contents.
You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool.
Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contains a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth.
You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. No, he is simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright.
Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them.
Ah, I see that they do. But what significance does that have?
It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man.
Show the court then, if you would. What pattern or design would we see if we were to rearrange the tools?
Take that!
And what design is this supposed to represent?
The YAXA logo, Your Honor. It's on all of the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, YAXA is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. No. Look at how brightly the YAXA logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going. YAXA, huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program?
Ah, I think I see it now, but...
Yes, with just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot, it would complete the YAXA logo.
So it would. Then that means...
Admit it, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours. And while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one.
No!
Unfortunately, no. Apparently not. No music cueing.
Order! Order in the court!
Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes mostly did stab someone, using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a moment that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous, or are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court!
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder? And that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands. No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if?
Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do.
Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix! What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. This isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her. To the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix! If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case. Thoroughly! I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only 2 there. So then how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know! This person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition feature by covering... But wait a minute, Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it! The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Thea stab? That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes! It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her! The real culprit! Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations.
You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby...
Objection!
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. Because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now, I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother.
What are you saying, Mr. Wright?
The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes!
What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Yep. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Ha! You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Clonko's strange malfunction. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them! I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because, by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating.
What? So does that mean...
Yes, Your Honor, the person Miss Sykes stabbed... This third person who is posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer!
But that's... impossible!
A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask?
Order! Order in the court! Miss Sykes, did you say something?
A mask. Yes, I remember
Athena! What is it?
I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head.
Miss Sykes, are you alright?
No! The black psyche locks. They're breaking! It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. They're gone. The black psyche locks are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... it's all right. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor by the workbench with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there!
A man?
Hold it!
Quiet, Your Honor! Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there, and... he dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again! And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went in through the back of his hand. Then he kicked me, and I passed out. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Panko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit!
Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was?
No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab.
Ah, this mask hanging here on the wall.
It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom?
It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has...
You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell, this is not good. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence.
Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Panko came to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. to recharge.
I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise.
Right, then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m.
Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.?
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident at around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene.
But very well then, let's take a look.
There! Please stop it right there!
It's just like you said. There is a man leaving the scene of the crime.
Miss Sykes, do you remember this person?
That's him! I'm sure of it! He's wearing my mother's jacket! I did, but what I really wanted to see was her jacket.
That jacket on display, that was Dr. Sykes's?
Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere.
So then, everything Miss Sykes said?
Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab for her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death!
Objection!
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that it's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back to the lab? The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? A puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body!
I would never have thought of that.
Order! Order in the court! What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the Hatch-1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in.
Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag?
Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people.
You will?
We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with a theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean... I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, right? Not that this was ever an official trial anyway. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding?
Is it true, boss? Does this mean I can't believe it. It's over. I won! I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say I see no need for further prolong. Not you either, Your Honor. Now, silence.
The little princess who was truly beloved by Menace and who repaid that love with death. All these years, hating Athena was the only thing that's kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anybody tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell.
How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that...
Shut up, Simon! You know exactly how I felt about her! Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted!
Then what did you want from her?
Did you really just go there, Your Honor?
Aura, there is something I've wanted to say if you will lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is.
You do?
Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past.
That's right. The Phantom. The person Blackwell has been looking for, even from behind bars.
7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat-1 rocket. The spy... But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then, one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him. Oh, how exciting! What was the lead? A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis. Yet I had hope. Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology.
And that scientist was Dr. Sykes.
Yes, a spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hat-1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording were surely among his targets. But his search of the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic. He couldn't find them, but where could they have been? Who is it to say?
Wow, I bet he's never let that out of his sight all these years.
How in the world did you smuggle them into prison? Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing. I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt.
And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information?
Here, you can see for yourself. But take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor. I will. I'd better hold on to this real tight. No emotional fluctuation, huh? A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness nor anger, and naturally, no fear. He is the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us all into motion! The Phantom indeed, a fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then, it seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end.
Whatever. Do what you want.
You'll hear no objections from me.
Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over.
Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything. Athena, you're more than welcome.
If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. You!
Apollo!
What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet!
Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? Okay, actually, I think I will really have to call it. I said I would go all the way, but unfortunately, I don't think I'm able to. This was not a good starting day for my voice. I feel bad for pseudo lying like this. But that'll make it even better next week, eh? Huh? I hope so. All right. Lum's doing a little more dancing with sabers. Why not? Whew. We've arrived at a destination. Please watch your step as you disembark. Please follow if you liked. Thanks for watching. Peace be with you, and may the forces of evil be confused on the way to your home. Bye.